Good morning, students. Today we're going to study another chapter. It's called Nutrition. Chapter 10, page 96. So, first and foremost, we'll start with the terms that are involved in this chapter, the basic terms involved in with the term nutrition. So, what does nutrition mean? It is the supply of essential organic and non-organic chemical compounds to our body. Organic compounds are those which contain carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. Okay, so these atoms are there, then they are known as organic compounds, and the others are known as inorganic compounds. So the supply of organic as well as inorganic chemical compounds is known as nutrition. Now, what are nutrients? The chemical compounds supplied to the body are known as nutrients. So when we take the adequate amount of chemical compounds, then our body becomes rich in nutrition, and then we are said to have been taking the nutrients. So these substances are known as nutrients. What is food? Any substance that we eat or drink which contains the nutrients is known as food. It can be dal, it can be rice, it can be roti. Okay, any food substance that we eat or drink. Okay, it can be even lassi or a glass of milk. Anything, any of these things which are having the nutrients is said to be called as food. Now, what is diet? The combination of the food items that we eat during our meals. Okay, the combination of things. It could be a dal with roti, with sabji, with rice. So, this combination is known as a diet. Okay, it can be a vegetarian diet, it can be a non-vegetarian diet also. Now, what is a balanced diet? A diet which contains all the principal constituents of food in proper quantities for a particular person is known as a balanced diet. What does this mean? It means that when the diet that we are eating contains all the main constituents of food, that is the carbohydrates, proteins, vitamins, minerals, fats, when these constituents are in the proper quantity, okay, that is essential for the person's well-being, okay, at that particular age, okay, for that particular person, when he takes adequate amounts of the constituents, then it is known as a balanced diet. Now we come to the balanced diet. What are the factors this balanced diet depends on? It depends on four essential factors, mainly the age of the person. Depending on the age of the person, his diet will vary. Okay, we cannot compare the diet of a small child to the diet of an adult. We cannot compare the diet of an adult with the diet of a senior citizen. Okay, so the diets are different. Okay, so then it depends also on the sex of the individual. A male body requires more of carbohydrates and fats compared to the female body. Okay, so it also depends on the sex of the individual. It depends on the lifestyle of work. A person working in an office will require less intake of fats and carbohydrates compared to a person who is working a manual laborer. Okay, so it depends on the lifestyle of the work. Then it also depends on the special needs of the person. Okay, like a pregnant woman or a woman lactating woman will require more amount of proteins in her diet. So depending on the special needs of the person, the diet will vary. A growing child will require more proteins. Okay, so it depends on the person, the special care needs of the person. So these were the factors on which the diet of a person depends on. Next, we move on to the need for nutrition. Why does our body need nutrition? There are essentially 6 reasons for it. We shall study each of these reasons. For number one, it's for the growth of our body. A young baby, a small baby requires essentially proteins for building up the body. Proteins are the building blocks of the body, so it needs good amount of proteins for the growth of the body. Next, repair of the body, for the wear and tear of the body. When you get an injury, the wound needs to heal. Okay, how does the body get the essential energy, and the essential cells have to be built up? How does this body do this? With the help of proteins. Okay, so that is for building up the body, for the repairing of the body. It requires, our body requires energy to do our day-to-day activities. Our body requires energy. Where do we get this energy from? From the food that we eat. Maintenance of the chemical composition of the cell. Okay, our cells have a fixed chemical composition. The essential amount of minerals, okay, calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, all these should be in the correct amount in our body so that it functions to the optimum. So for this, our body requires food, okay, our body requires nutrition. Next is protection. Protection against diseases, to build up the immunity against diseases, to fight diseases. Our body needs nutrition. Next, the provision of raw materials. Our body also secretes essential things like sweat. It secretes milk in the case of lactating women. It secretes other enzymes and hormones, okay, which are essentially there, okay, which are essentially secreted with the help of raw materials. How does our body get this from the food that we eat, from the nutrition given to our body, from the food that we consume. So all these six factors are essentially the need for nutrition. Okay, they are the reason why our body requires nutrition. Next, we go on to the classes of nutrients. This we have studied right from your lower classes, the different nutrients that are required for the optimum working of our body. Okay, these are the nutrients that form your balanced diet. They are essentially the carbohydrates, the fats, the proteins, the vitamins, minerals, and water. Okay, all these are required by our body to function effectively. And where do we get all these from? We get it from the food that we eat. Number one, we go to the first, we are going to study the first nutrient, that is the carbohydrates. Now, first we'll study what are carbohydrates. From the word carbohydrates, what does it mean? It means they are compounds made of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. So, carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen are essentially the three things that a carbohydrate is made up of. The hydrogen to oxygen ratio isn't 2 is to 1. Okay, so if there are two atoms of hydrogen, there will be one atom of oxygen. So likewise, if there are four atoms of hydrogen, there will be two atoms of oxygen. So that's how the ratio is maintained. They oxidize in the cells to release energy. Now this carbohydrates, they oxidize, in the cells so that energy can be released, and this energy is used for our day-to-day activities. They include sugar, starch, cellulose, etc. Essentially, they mainly include sugars. Okay, all the sugars are carbohydrates. The starch is the carbohydrate. So when we eat sugars and when we consume starchy food, we are essentially increasing the amount of carbohydrates in our body. Now we'll study the first type of carbohydrate, that is the sugars, in detail. Now these sugars are mainly of two types. They are known as monosaccharides and disaccharides. So first we'll study monosaccharides. They are also known as simple sugars. What is their general formula? C6H12O6. We came across this last year when we studied about photosynthesis, and it is the formula of glucose. C6H12O6. So glucose, it is also obtained from grape sugar. It is the simplest form of sugar. And when you check your blood sugar level, when you go for a blood test and they tell you your sugar level is so and so, what does it mean? It means essentially your glucose level. How much amount of glucose is there in your body? How much amount of C6H12O6 is there in your body? Now fructose. Where is this fructose found? It is found in all plants. Okay, essentially in fruits. It is also known as fruit sugar. Galactose, it is found in milk. So here we studied the three monosaccharides. Okay, monosaccharides, glucose, fructose, and galactose. Now we come to the second type of sugars, that is a disaccharide. They are also known as double sugar. Their general formula is C12H22O11. C12H22O11. So now they are of three types again: sucrose, maltose, and lactose. Now where is sucrose obtained from? It is essentially obtained from sugarcane. What is it is made up of? It is made up of glucose and fructose. Now, what is glucose and fructose? It is type of monosaccharide which we just studied. Now we study the second type, that is maltose. It is also known as malt sugar. It is made up of what? Two glucose molecules. Now the third type of disaccharide sugar is lactose. It is also known as milk sugar. Okay, and what is it made up of? Glucose plus galactose. Now glucose is, we studied in the previous part, it is a monosaccharide, and galactose is essentially found in milk. Now we come to the next type of carbohydrate, that is starch. They are also known as polysaccharides. Now what is this polysaccharide or what is this starch? It is an insoluble carbohydrate. Now when we studied about sugars, sugars are all soluble carbohydrates. Starch is insoluble carbohydrate. It has a general formula C6H10O5 taken n times. It is also called a polysaccharide. Okay, n times means you can have, instead of n, you can have 2, you can have 3, any natural number. Okay, so they have this is a general, chemical formula. Two other polysaccharide carbohydrates are cellulose and glycogen. Okay, now cellulose we find it in the cell wall of the plant cells. Okay, so essentially all the plants, mostly all the plants, all the green plants contain cellulose in their cell wall. Okay, now this provides us a roughage for our body. So that's why if you consume more of leafy vegetables, okay, more of plant items, vegetarian food, we add to the roughage of the body and helps in the functioning of the gut. That is, it helps in the functioning of our intestines, of our digestive system, and helps to throw out the waste easily and prevents constipation. Okay, so cellulose is essential for that. Glycogen is form of storage of carbohydrate in the animal body. Okay, so it is a form of carbohydrate which is stored in the animal body. It is essentially stored in the liver and also in the muscles. So this is about the starch. Okay, so what is starch? It is a insoluble carbohydrate. Okay, and we studied about two other insoluble carbohydrates or polysaccharides, that is cellulose and glycogen. Cellulose formed in the plant body, glycogen found in the animal body or the human body. Okay, in the human body it is stored in the liver. Now we go to the next essential nutrient, that is fats. Now this fats is also composed of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. Okay, just like carbohydrates. But in this case, the amount of oxygen in it is less. In fact, the oxygen content is less. But what do fats do? They provide energy to our body. So if we eat fatty foods, you get more energy. Even carbohydrates give our body more energy, but the energy content given by the fats is much more than that of carbohydrates. 1 mole of fat releases 9.45 kilocalories of energy. So that much amount of energy you will get if 1 mole of fat is released. So that shows you how much of energy fats contain. Butter, ghee, cheese, vegetable oils, fish liver oil and beef oil, all these contain fats. Fats and fatty oils are made of fatty acids and glycerol. Now, what is the content of these fats, oils, and fatty oils and oils? It is nothing else but fatty acids and glycerol. They contain this essential component, fatty acids and glycerol. Now, what are the functions of the fats? Number one, as I told you, it produces energy, just like carbohydrates. In fact, more energy. They're important storage form of food. So, food can be stored in this form, in the form of fats in our body. It serves as a solvent. Okay, there are many of the essential vitamins. They do not dissolve in water, but they are able to dissolve in fat. For example, vitamins A, D, K, and E. Okay, these four vitamins, they will never dissolve in water, but they will dissolve in fats. So the fat is like a solvent, okay, for these vitamins. It helps to dissolve these vitamins. The fat under our skin, it prevents a rapid loss of heat and it insulates our body. So we have to have little amount of fat in our body so that our body is insulated from the outside temperatures fluctuations. Okay, so the fat under our body, under our skin, is essential form of insulation for our body, insulation against extreme temperatures. Okay, so when it is extremely hot or extremely cold in outside doesn't affect us much because of the fat layer that is there under our skin. Now we come to the next essential constituent, that is the protein. Now what are proteins? They are very large chemical molecules. What do they contain? They contain carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and one more component, that is nitrogen. Their most essential element is nitrogen. Here, what is the most essential thing? Nitrogen. To build a protein in the body, even in the plant body, the plant require nitrogen. So that is why, remember, we learned about nitrogen fixation. Okay, so this nitrogen fixation is to produce proteins in the plant body. So essentially, to produce protein, the plant requires nitrogen. Some proteins also contain sulfur and phosphorus. Sometimes the proteins contain sulfur and phosphorus, two other essential elements also. Simple unit of proteins is amino acids. So how are these found in the human body? They are found in the form of amino acids. Now, what is the function of the proteins? The proteins provide chemical material for the growth and repair of the body cells and tissues. Whenever there is a wear and tear in your body, okay, it provides, these proteins are the ones that helps in the growth, okay, and the repair of those tissues. At time of emergency, they may be oxidized to release energy. These proteins can also release energy at the time of emergency. So if there is nothing else, then you can also live on the proteins that is stored in your body. Protein rich foods are lean meat, fish, eggs, nuts, beans, peas, etc. Deficiency of protein, it leads to two diseases, kwashiorkor and marasmus. We will be learning in detail about these two diseases. Thank you. That's all for today.